Hello, my name is Bobby Fisher, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about Nashville notation or Nashville numbered notation. I was introduced to Nashville notation when I was first doing recording sessions with various gospel groups in the Cincinnati area, and came into the session, and the producer, instead of giving us music, he would just give us a blank sheet of paper, a pencil, and he would dictate the music for the song by saying, okay, the first song intro is 11:11, 11:41, 2 minor 5 split, 1/4 split, 11:11. Example like that, and then he'd give us the verse and numbers, and I thought, what the heck is he talking about? And I was just totally lost. I had no idea, and all the other musicians, they're busy writing their charts. So what I started to do before I learned Nashville notation, I was very good at playing by ear. And so I would just follow along, play by ear, but sometimes there'd be a chord that they'd hit and it would just throw me, and I just, oh, okay, where do I go with that? But so after a while, I wasn't getting calls for sessions. And when I came back at the same studio for a session for Christmas album where they had actual letter charts like C, C7, F, G minor, blah, blah, blah. I was very comfortable playing the session, and the engineer, when we were on break, he says to me, Bob, you learned to read music yet? And I said, well, yeah, I can read music. And he said, well, then read your charts, be like the pros. And this engineer happened to had come up from Nashville. He'd been a Nashville engineer, was somewhat intimidating. He had actually engineered for Elvis Presley. And so I thought, okay. So I started doing these sessions with a piece of paper in front of me, but I still didn't know how to read it. So I was just faking my way through. But finally, once I learned how to read Nashville notation and what it was all about, I thought, wow, this is super easy. So ended up learning it, and ended up actually writing a short chapter in a book that I put together called The Pastoral Guitarist. And in this book, chapter on Nashville notation starts on bottom of page 159 and continues here. So what it's basically based on is if you take your major scale in any key and assign a number to each note of that scale, starting like, for example, C major, you got C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, and so forth until you get back up to the octave C. But that's your eighth, your octave, but it's just actually it goes back to being a 1. So all your C's are 1. And then, so you build it on that. And then I have in the book on page 161 this wonderful little chart of all of your keys. Major keys, key of C through key of D flat, and tells you how many sharps or flats are in each key. For example, C has 0 sharps or flats. And then at the top, you'll see numbers assigned. And then if you're playing chords within that scale, so for example, C, your C chord would be your 1. Then moving to the chord based on the D with the root, that becomes that's a D minor or a 2 minor. The 3, the E would be E minor or 3 minor. The 4 or the F chord would be the number 4. And so the way Nashville notation looks, we'll give you an example here. So you have a measure of in 3/4 time, key of C, and you have a half note on C and a quarter note on F. Then just a dotted half or a full bar, then 3 quarter notes, G, and then a measure of 2 beats of C, 1 beat of F, and then a fermato on a C. It's just a short little example. Well, Nashville notation looks like this, and you would just mark it key of C, 3/4 time, and then the C and F looks like this. It's a 1, 4, and it's a split. So you could just, the terminology, split 14, 2 beats on the 1, 1 beat on the 4. And then just a 5 by itself. And then this measure, 3 beats of G, is a split Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the 3 beats of G. Then the C to the F is a split. 1, 2 beats on 1, 1 beat on 4, or 2 beats on C, 1 beat on F. So you're probably wondering, well, why would you even bother with that? Why not just write the names of the notes or the chords? Why not just write out C and F? Well, the reason being is there may be some times, and especially when you're playing certain types of music, where you might want to use a capo on your guitar, or you might be asked to transpose. You have a singer who says, well, I can't sing it in the key that's written. Can you lower from the key of G to the key of F? So using this tool on page 161, just if you understand the notes of each of your scales, then when you change that to numbers, you can instantly transpose to any key. And if you want to play, say, a capo on the 3rd fret and you're in the key of F, well, that would translate to D. And so you'd want to know where are your chords in the key of D. So I have an example up here, and I'm not going to tell you what song this is. I'll let you figure it out. I'll end up playing it, but just start. So this is an example of a Nashville chart. The top, it gives you instructions what key you're in. It's key of F, so the music will sound in F. And for the guitar, capo 3, play in D. So you're playing a D-shaped chord with the capo on the 3rd fret, but it's still going to sound as an F. And your time signature 3/4. So it also saves you a lot of writing too. Your intro is 11:41, and in the key of D, so that would be D, D, G, D. And when you have a number that's just by itself, that represents an entire measure. The next measure, it's a 6 minor, 6M, which would be in the key of D, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. That'd be a B minor. And then you have the parentheses to designate the split measure, a 1/5. Now what that means is the 1 is your D chord, and the /5 is what would be the 5th note of the D scale. So D, E, F sharp, G, A. It's a 1 with an A in the bass, and then followed by an A chord. So that's a split measure of D with an A in the bass for 2 beats, and then A for 1 beat. And then the last line of the intro is a split measure of a 1 and a 4. 2 beats on the 1, 1 beat on the 4. So the split measure is designated by the parenthesis. And then the last measure of the intro is 1. Now this got a little squirrely with the marker. That is actually a parenthesis, and that's a 1. So your first line of the verse is 1, and then a split, we'll just say split 15, 2 beats on the 1, 1 beat on the 5, then a split 6 minor 4, 2 beats on the 6 minor, 1 beat on the 4, and then a 1. Second line is 1, 6 minor, then a split 1/3, 2 beats on that chord, and a 4, 1 beat on that chord, followed by 5. So you get the idea. 1, 1/3, 4, 1. And when it's spoken fast, it'd just be 1, 1/3, 41, 4, 1. Last line, 6 minor, split 1/5 and 5. 2 beats on the 1/5, 1 beat on the 5, and then a split, 2 beats on the 1, 1 beat on the 4, and finally a 1. And then here I gave an alternate verse, which I'll explain this in just a minute. The alternate verse is just alternate chords for a verse. This is 1, and then 2 beats on 1, 1 beat on a 5/7. So in the key of D, a 5 with a 7 in the bass is your D, or your A. D, E, F sharp, G, A. That's your 5 chord is an A with A. And then a 7, what would that be? D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. So basically it's an A over C sharp. A with a C sharp in the bass. And then 6 minor, 4, 1, 5, both of those split. So you get the idea. This little chord here, 2/4. What would a sharp 4 be? Well, if you count in the key of D, your scale, D, E, F sharp, G, a sharp 4 would be a G sharp. So it's the 2 would be 1, 2, E with a G sharp in the bass. 5 sus, 5, it's a suspended 4th. And then a fun little 5 minor 7th. That would be an A minor 7th, A being the 5th note of the D scale. And then a split 1, 1 over 3. I didn't put the rhythm there, but it's, so let's say 2 beats on the 1, 1 beat on the 1 over 3. With this particular song, when you have a split measure, that second chord is typically a chord that's going to lead you into the next chord. And then a 4, 1, 5 over 7 split. Finally, 6 minor, split 1 over 5. Again, 2 beats on the 1 over 5, 1 beat on the 5. And then same with the 14 split, 2 beats on the 1, 1 beat on the 4, finally 1. Now this right here is your roadmap. So instead of rewriting a verse or necessarily having repeat signs, you have intro, verse, verse, and then I use just an asterisk to label the alternate verse, verse, alternate verse, and then a coda, which is generally, a coda is like a tag, the last line. 6 minor, split 1 over 5, 5, again 2 beats on the 1 over 5, 4, and then 1. And with a fermata over it and a retard, so it gives you your directions. So, in case you might be wondering what this song is, I'm going to go ahead and play it and see if you can figure out what it is. Don't worry, by the time this video is over, you'll know what the song is, and maybe by the time I get done playing it. So, here's the intro. Actually, get my capo out. And, there we go. So, capo 3, play D. Now we're in the key of F. So, then I'm going to be playing D-shaped chord. So, in 3/4 time, boom. And here's my tempo, 1, 2, 3. 6 minor, 1 over 5, 5, 1, 4, 1, verse. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 6 minor, 1 over 3, D over F sharp, G, 5, A, so that D over F sharp, G, third line, 1 over 3, 4, 1, 6 minor, 1 over 5, 5, 1. And then you would repeat that second verse. Now here's the alternate verse, just so you can hear that. And it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, Song pretty much on one page. And actually one of the bass players that I used to work with on these gospel sessions, he could get an entire album on one piece of paper. His charts he'd write really small. So you'd have a song here, a song here, a song there. He'd have like 10 songs. And so that's one of the nice things about Nashville notation. You can make it much more compact. Now, I'm just going to qualify this a little bit. I don't always use this on some songs, because there are some songs where you're having a lot of modulations, say within a verse or a chorus, and you're having some chords that aren't your typical 1, 4, 5, 3 minor, 2 minor. you might have a, like a flatted 3 chord, say in the key of D, which would be an F, but it would be like an F7 sharp 5, flat 9, or something like that. And sometimes you have to think on your feet. So sometimes in that case, I may end up just writing out a number chart. I mean a letter, name chart, chord chart. But in many cases, this is very, very convenient and helps you to instantly transpose a song. So, have you guessed yet what the song is? I'll just sing a little bit of a verse. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Oh, there you go. And that's just a little instant lesson on Nashville notation.